What if the very thing you fear most about yourself is the thing that can make you unstoppable? I'm not talking about mindset hacks. I'm talking about the parts of you that you pretend aren't there. The anger, the shame, the jealousy, the darkness. Yeah, that stuff. The 2 a.m. kind of thoughts. The ones that crawl in when you're scrolling through life wondering, is it just me? Most people try to run from it, hide it, patch it with fake positivity and pastel-colored productivity apps. But what if I told you the monsters inside you, they don't need to be killed, they need to be led? This isn't a motivational speech. This is a survival guide for anyone tired of pretending to be at peace while chaos runs the show behind the curtain. Because Sung Jin-Woo, he doesn't run from the dark, he leads it. And today, we're going to explore what it means to stop pretending to be pure and start becoming someone powerful enough to command their own shadow army. Let's be real. Self-help books are cool till you realize you've read 14 of them. And you still ghost people the moment they ask you how you really feel. You're not lazy. You're not broken. You're just dodging the part of you that still bleeds. I used to think I just needed more discipline, better routines, less screen time, more gratitude journaling. But no matter how many systems I stacked, I always ended up back here. Burned out, angry at nothing, snapping over things like dropped spoons or unread texts, craving likes like they were oxygen. And the worst part, I thought those feelings were the enemy, so I stuffed them down. But here's what they don't tell you in the highlight reel version of healing. What you resist persists. Carl Jung, the original shadow boss. And I was resisting myself. Jung coined the term shadow self to describe the parts of us we exile, the traits we bury so no one sees what they say about us. Anger, envy, neediness, desire. But here's the twist. They don't vanish. They just lurk backstage, running the show, while we pretend we're in charge. Unless you bring them into the light, they'll keep pulling the strings and cutting the wires. The Stoics, they called these emotions passions. They didn't aim to eliminate them. They trained to control them. Because strength was never about being clean. It was always about command. Jin-Woo's weak, afraid. He survives because others carry him. But then, the double dungeon. When the walls close in and bodies drop, everyone runs or dies. But Jin-Woo, he stays, bleeding, shaken, but still there. That moment when he stares into the jaws of death and doesn't flinch, that's when the system chooses him. Not because he was strong, but because he stopped pretending and faced it. You've had your own dungeon. Maybe it wasn't monsters and traps. Maybe it was silence that got too loud. A heartbreak that cracked something raw. A failure that shattered your identity. And maybe, like me, you blamed the world. But deep down, you knew the monster wasn't out there. It was inside. The jealousy that blew up your last relationship. The rage that made you quit before you started. The emptiness that follows success like a shadow. That's not a glitch. That's your shadow self. And no habit tracker's gonna fix it until you're brave enough to sit in a room with it and say, I see you. The biggest lie we're sold is that self-improvement equals flawlessness. Nah, real growth isn't about becoming the light. It's about learning to lead the dark. Here's your first rep. Tonight, ask, what part of me have I been avoiding? Write it. Don't fix it. Don't justify it. Don't spiritualize it. Just look. Because monsters lose power when they know they've been seen. You don't have to kill your darkness. You have to command it. See, most of us were trained to fear our shadow. You get angry? Calm down. Feel envy? Practice gratitude. Feel lust, pride, or rage? Do yoga. Play lo-fi beats. Cool. Except it doesn't work. What you suppress starts driving. Anger leaks out in sarcasm. Fear paralyzes decisions. Ego builds castles that collapse at the first breeze. You're not weak, you're just letting untrained emotions run the ship. And the longer you ignore them, the more they sabotage your momentum. Jung didn't say, kill the shadow. He said, integrate it. You're not meant to be a saint. You're meant to become someone who looks their darkest impulse in the face and says, you work for me now. The Stoics, they didn't erase emotion, they turned it into armor. Seneca said, "No man is more unhappy than he who never faces adversity." Translation, if you've never faced your inner demons, you've never met your real strength. Igris isn't just a monster. He's war personified. Jin-Woo doesn't destroy him. He defeats him, then recruits him. He doesn't cower. He claims. That's what leading your shadow looks like. Maybe rage gave you clarity. Maybe heartbreak made you sharper. Maybe jealousy pointed you toward your truest desire. That wasn't a breakdown. That was data. Your darker emotions aren't evil. They're just unled. Each time you ignore them, you bury a blade. Each time you suppress your pain, you lose a weapon. Imagine if you stopped fearing the storm and started steering it. This is your upgrade moment. You stop trying to be palatable and start training what's primal. You don't need to be nice. You need to be in control. Jin-Woo didn't become the monarch by being safe. He became it by turning shadows into soldiers. Pick one emotion you usually stuff down. Anger, resentment, insecurity. Ask, where does it show up? What's it trying to protect? How can I lead it next time? And when it flares again, don't mute it, mobilize it. Because your shadow isn't here to shame you. It's here to serve you. You don't become powerful by being clean. You become powerful by commanding the chaos inside you. We live in a world addicted to polished healing, clean girl routines, smoothie bowls, crystals on windowsills. Good vibes only, they say, while you quietly drown in your own overthinking. Everything looks perfect on the outside, but on the inside, still anxious, still reactive, still trapped in cycles of validation and guilt. Because healing isn't curated. It's blood under your fingernails. It's weeping on the floor at 3 a.m. because something ancient just cracked open. It's looking your inner villain in the face and saying, "You don't scare me anymore." Epictetus, slave turned philosopher, once said, "No man is free who is not master of himself." That's not a metaphor. That's the blueprint. It's not about suppressing your rage or cleansing your shame. It's about choosing when and how to use them. That's not repression, that's control. By the time Jin-Woo becomes the Shadow Monarch, he doesn't flinch at what he is. He walks in silence, deliberate, measured, with monsters behind him, and none of them out of line. He doesn't control them through fear. He commands through presence. He's not trying to be good, he's trying to be whole. Because strength isn't the absence of darkness, it's presence with purpose. Think of the most composed person you know. They weren't always like that. They probably used to be the storm. Then one day, they stopped apologizing for it and started directing it. Your shadow isn't here to ruin you. It's here to refine you. That grudge you're still carrying could be fuel for an empire. That rage you suppress might be the fire you need to say no, to draw the line, to leave, to begin. The goal isn't cleanliness, it's capability. You were taught to be tame, to be polite, to be digestible, but you're not here to be light. You're here to be whole. Wholeness means holding every piece, even the jagged ones, even the loud, messy, burning ones. It means saying, I don't need to be perfect. I need to be powerful over myself. Tonight, ask, if I could lead the darkest part of me, what would I do differently tomorrow? Would you speak? Would you walk away? Would you start building? Would you stop breaking? The answer, that's your next mission. Your shadow isn't a curse. It's raw potential. And like any untamed force, it isn't meant to be silenced. It's meant to be trained. Most people are overwhelmed because no one taught them how to work with intensity, so they suppress it, or worse, leak it all over people who don't deserve it. But what if every emotion you fear was just a blade waiting for instruction? 1. Redirect anger into physical output. Feel that fire rising? Don't tweet it. Don't swallow it. Move it. Lift something heavy. Sprint like something's chasing you. Clean your room like it insulted your ancestors. Why it works? Anger is energy, and energy that doesn't move festers. Harvard neuroscientist Dr. Jill Bolt Taylor found that when you fully feel an emotion without resisting, it lasts only about 90 seconds. So don't store it. Move it. 2. Journal without filters. Not a gratitude list, not a gentle reflection. We're talking shadow journaling. Say the ugly thing. Let the villain monologue. Then ask, what is this emotion protecting me from? Where did this first show up in my life? How can I lead this instead of letting it hijack me? Why it works. Psychologist James Pennebaker found that expressive writing activates the logical parts of your brain, turning chaos into clarity. You stop being the storm. You become the narrator. 3. Use shame as a signal, not a sentence. Shame hits, pause. Ask, what boundary did I cross? What value did I betray? How do I repair, not punish, myself? Then act. Apologize, correct, or take one honest step back into alignment. Why it works. Shame is like emotional GPS. It only works when you listen, not when you spiral. 4. Build a ritual that channels the dark. Create a weekly space where you face your edge. Listen to music that makes you feel powerful, not peaceful. Meditate, not on stillness, but on what's still hurting you. Rewatch the moment you broke and use it to build, not burn. Why it works. Ritual gives structure to chaos. You stop fearing your shadow and start shaping it. These aren't hacks. They're reps. This isn't about healing your shadow like it's a sickness. It's about training it like a soldier. You're not erasing what makes you dangerous. You're pointing it at something that matters. Pick one emotion you usually avoid, and by the end of today, do one thing to channel it. Lift with it. Write through it. Clean with it. Speak because of it. Don't shut it down. Lead it. You need to be clearer. You don't need to be perfect. You need to take the throne in your own mind. The monsters inside you, they're not here to destroy you. They're waiting for a leader. So be that. Lead the shadow and watch what follows.